28-7 to advance to the semis. In the nightcap, the Benson Tech men, unranked in most polls, but rated 8th in the Channel 8 top 10, stunned South Medford 12-7. Derek Baldwin with the TV reception. Derek, what it is, my man. Benson led 12-0, then held on to upset South Medford 12-7. Benson will play Gresham next week.
Voting. Well, there's a team with personality in this year's high school football playoffs, a team not afraid to speak its mind, and now just one game away from the state championship. Everybody's finally listening. Bill Cassidy has the story.
Nobody thought Benson Tech would be in the semifinals, but here the Tech men are after beating the meat in their bracket, including top-ranked South Medford last week. Not even their coach had faith this year because it wasn't supposed to be their year.
I think that we made a mistake saying that we were probably going to be better next year, and they turned to each other and said, well, what's that telling us?
Our goals were to win city because no one thought we would. And then when we got in the playoffs, we kind of had the idea like, this is our other season. This is the season we played for. And so we came out to win. We didn't really care whether they thought we should be here. We thought we should.
2 years ago, the Tech men made it to the semifinals before losing. This team is different, real different. Even the players admit they're a hard group to work with.
Coach was really frustrated with us in the beginning of the year. We were different from all the rest of his teams. But he told us before we played North Salem that we may act up and drive him crazy and do this and do that, but we win, and that's what he loves about us.
All year, nobody listened to Benson Tech. The Tech men knew they were good. Nobody else believed. They've been in this position before. Saturday, they have a purpose.
This is a team with a mission to get into the state championship the first time. It wasn't expected, but that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do.
Don't bet against them. In Portland, Bill Cassidy, the 10 o'clock news.
Benson plays unbeaten Gresham Saturday night at Civic Stadium. Kickoff will be at 7 o'clock.
Now, play trade aging veteran Jim Rice on the high school gridiron after this stunning win over #1 South Medford. Benson is gearing for powerful Gresham in Saturday's semifinals. The Techmen say they are on a mission. Incentive has been created by being ignored in the football polls all year long.
You know, that kind of keeps us going, and we want to prove to everyone that we are a top team in the state. And we have been for the last couple of years, and we will be for the next couple of years.
Benson trying to become the first PIL team to win a state football championship in 30 years. And college football, USC says Rodney Peete suffered a slight shoulder separation Saturday.
Friday night and time for the Little Daddies of football. They're in the playoffs, and here is your game of the night. This is Oregon City in red against Barlow, and it's Kevin Williamson on a slick toss. 14-7 Oregon City in the third quarter. But Barlow comes right at you with a dive play up the middle. Dustin Sluman ties it at 14 heading into the fourth, and then the in-laws started fighting. Now watch this Oregon City ball bounce off Steve Medick's helmet. Yes, Barlow's Matt Takahashi is gone. 51 yards for the touchdown. 2014 Barlow with 8 minutes left. But watch this catch by Oregon City's Jeff Lomas from Ian Shield. It looks like Oregon City had it made. 21-20 Pioneers with 3:24 left. But this game belonged to Barlow with just over a minute left. It was Doug Green to Jeff Miller. What a move. Miller tiptoes into the end zone as Barlow upsets number 4 Oregon City 27-21. Now I'll tell you who has a dangerous team. 7th-ranked Ashland and White. This is Scott Chaddick to Robert Nitzos against Jesuit. Look at that big horse run between two Jesuit guys. 7-0 Ashland. Ashland is a high school team that can pass better than most college outfits. Chad Cota like Leapin' Lena. Ashland clobbers Jesuit 28-6. Benson's cheerleaders do push-ups every time the Techmen score. After tonight, they should have arms the size of Popeye, because this is what Benson did to 6th-ranked North Salem. That's Tony Robertson down the sidelines like grease lightning, 32 yards, and it was 6-0 Benson. Robertson was the only guy in the end zone. What speed that kid has. Then Benson will run a sweet reverse, and it was put the papers on the floor and call the puppy in the house. It was all over. This is Derek Baldwin for the touchdown as Benson stuns North Salem 33-13. Now the boys from Redmond at David Douglas. And here it's Bill Volk for David Douglas, and he's gone. Volk with crazy legs into the end zone after a 50-yard run. It put David Douglas up 7-0. But but the Country Boys won this baby. It's quarterback Joe Abbas up the middle, and Redmond wins 27-16 with 6 seconds left in the game against Thurston. Hillsboro's Matt James rears back and, yes, hits Jim Craig 51 yards, and it was tied at 6 heading into overtime. They call it the Kansas plan here. This is Hillsboro's last chance. Under the formula, it's 4th down. Was Matt Binkert in? See for yourself as the ref pulls them apart. So Hillsboro beats Thurston 12-9 in overtime. Now there you go. Number 1 South Medford stomps Glencoe, but Thurman Bell did it again, this time upsetting number 2 Sunset. Gresham over Sprague, and yes, Barlow upset Oregon City. Benson like grown men over North Salem, and Ashland clobbers Jesuit. Matt James and Hillsboro in overtime past Thurston, and Redmond beats David Douglas, and over in...
Blazers.
They played well.
Good.
They didn't win. The Blazers
played well.
Yeah, they played much better tonight than they have in the last few games, all but the final minute. They lost to the Lakers by 1, 106-105. It was back in 8 AAA games around the state. That means 8 winners and 8 teams into the quarterfinals next weekend. Doubleheader at Civic Stadium tonight. First game, Oregon City in red against Barlow. 4th quarter, the pass bounces off Steve Kometic, and Matt Takahashi intercepts it. He could go all the way. He does, 51 yards. It gives the Bruins the lead at 20-14. Oregon City isn't scared off, though. Back to the air. Ian Shields, number 12, rolls out. He throws it. Number 9, Jeff Loomis with a great catch. Touchdown, Oregon City back on top, 21-10, 20. But a minute left to go in the game. Barlow, Doug Green passes to Jeff Miller. He breaks a tackle. He outruns number 27. He breaks another tackle. Then he tiptoes down the sideline for the game-winning touchdown. Barlow 27, Oregon City 21. The second game of the stadium, Jesuit and Green against Ashland. It was uphill all night for the Crusaders. Last week they upset number 1 Lebanon, but tonight they fell behind Ashland 21-0 in the first half. Here Jesuits' Jason Berry goes 61 yards for the touchdown, but it's too little too late. Ashland got one more score and beat Jesuit 28-6. Ashland is 10-1. Okay, down to Salem. In white, Gresham against Sprague. The Gophers score first. John Sandstrom on the short run. It's 7-0 Gresham. Now watch the razzle-dazzle by the Gophers. A reverse to number 88, Nathan Hamilton. He's going to pass, and he has Dan Radke wide open. 66 yards to the touchdown. The Gophers go on to beat Sprague 28-12. Gresham 11-0 for the season. Now in black, North Salem hosting Benson. The Techmen roll to a big win. They too are 11-0 for the season. Tony Robinson with a 12-yard touchdown run, his second of the game. Roll the dice, Tony. Thank you. Now watch this play. Joe Bushman. He's going to throw long. He has Derek Baldwin wide open on the sideline. He makes the catch. Goes down inside the 20, sets up another Benson score, and Benson goes on to beat North Salem. Here are the numbers. Benson will meet powerful South Medford next week. The Panthers beat Glencoe tonight 34-14. Gresham a winner and Hillsboro a winner. The Spartans beat Thurston in overtime. Redmond over David Douglas. The Panthers will meet Ashland in the quarterfinals. Sunset suffered its first loss of the season at Roseburg. The Apollos are out. Roseburg will meet Barlow up here next week. And both Southwest Washington teams lost in the Washington playoffs. Mountain View beaten.
Party hosted by Ashland Scott Chaddock. The Grizzly quarterback throwing for 3 first-half TD passes tonight. Chad Cota on the other end 2 times, both from 16 yards away. The Grizzlies scratch Jesuit 28-6. Ron Carlson, Channel 2 Sports.
Now to Redmond and David Douglas. The Scots Bill Bolt breaks free on David Douglas's first possession of the game. 50 yards in the touchdown. Scots quickly up 7-0. They settle for a 7-7 tie at the half. The game heats up in the 4th quarter. Redmond's Joe Abbas goes to Rick Kern. 25 yards in the touchdown. 21-10. Redmond leads, and they begin to break it open. After a quick David Douglas score, Dante Johnson ices it for Redmond. On the sweep, he breaks loose for 59 yards in the touchdown. Redmond wins at David Douglas 27-16 to advance to the final 8. Now to a thriller at Hillsboro. Spartans down 6-0. 6 seconds left to go in the game when the Hail Mary works. Matt James to Jim Craig, 55 yards in the touchdown, but Hillsboro misses the extra point to settle for a 6-6 tie. Into the Kansas plan. Thurston scores a field goal, but Hillsboro wins it with a touchdown. Matt Binkard from the 1. Hillsboro comes back to beat Thurston 12-9 in overtime. To the scoreboard, number 1, South Medford 34, Glencoe 14. There's the Roseburg upset of Sunset. Benson and Gresham advance. Barlow ends Oregon City's season. Hillsboro stuns Thurston in overtime. Redmond and Ashland also advance. Southwest Washington, Kentwood over Kelso, and
football game up there, you guys. There we go. It was rough, just as this photographer. That's a 40-grand camera the guy had to account for. And look at the guy hang on like it was his main squeeze. You would, too. Opening drive of the game, and it's Benson's Joe Bushman to Chris Tujo. Benson would score on the next play for a 6-0 lead. This is how it was for South Medford. John Hardy made the hit. The ball almost bounced to the Red Robin. Benson recovered, and it was expensive for South Medford because on the next play, Joe Bushman with a pump fake and then hit Derek Baldwin, who made a great catch. And then, yes, Baldwin did to James Brown as it was 12-0 Benson. South Medford cut it to 12-7, but in the third quarter, Benson's defense stopped South Medford twice inside the 10-yard line. South Medford had more turnovers than Sarah Lee, so jubilation for Benson after the 12-7 upset. In a terribly dull game today, Auburn beat Alabama.
Chip. Crunch time on the gridiron tonight for 4 of those teams. Bob Akamian reports on quarterfinal matchups between Gresham-Hillsboro and Benson South Medford.
It was business as usual for Gresham in the opener, trailing 7-0 early in the second quarter. The defense struck. Hillsboro's Joe Rector fumbles on the goal line. Jason Samadurov recovers for the touchdown. 7-7 tie. Then the big play. Hillsboro looking for the run. Jason Fellows throws it. Matt Schulenberg's wide open, 67 yards. Gresham ahead for good, 14-7 at halftime. Gopher ground ace John Sandstrom had a big game on defense. He also added this third quarter touchdown, a little frosting on the cake, and Gresham wins easily, 28-7. Well, then it was time to turn on the tension. Unranked Benson almost blew number 1 ranked South Medford out of the park. Leading 6-0, John Hardy knocks the ball loose from Panther quarterback Brent Berry. And on the very next play, Joe Bushman goes to work, hitting Derek Baldwin. He's wide open, 40 yards, and it's 12-0 for Benson. The Panthers struggle throughout the first half, finally scoring on the last play from scrimmage. Berry throwing to Alan Stone out of the backfield. He goes all the way, 55 yards, and Benson's ahead 12-7 at halftime. That's the way the score stayed. South dominated the second half, but the Benson defense did not yield. 4th down inside the 5-yard line, but Techman hold. South got the ball back again and again, but turned it over again and again. Benson took the ball away 6 times in the evening and pull a huge upset. The final 12-7. At the stadium, Bob Akamian, Channel 2 Sports.
All right, Bob, recapping tonight's action. Gresham 28, Hillsboro.
On the opening kickoff, Hillsboro's Joe Rector caught the ball on the bounce. He went right up the middle and then took off down the near sideline. He nearly went all the way. He returned it to the Gresham 18-yard line before he was finally brought down. The Spartans were certainly off to a great start. Just 2 plays later, quarterback Matt James on the keeper ran to the left side. He managed to get in for the touchdown. 7-0 Hillsboro. Early in the game, a lot of excitement for the Spartans. However, that would be all the scoring for Hillsboro tonight. In the second quarter, a Hillsboro fumble was turned immediately into a Gresham touchdown. The ball popped loose. Number 36, Jason Samadurov, recovered for the score. With the extra point, it was tied 7-7. Still in the first half, Jason Fellows threw long to Matt Schulenberg, not Schulberg, Schulenberg, a 68-yard scoring pass that made it 14-7 at halftime. Gresham went on to win 28-7 to advance to the semis. In the nightcap, the Benson Tech men, unranked in most polls, but rated 8th in the Channel 8 top 10, stunned South Medford 12-7. Derek Baldwin with the TD reception. Derek, what it is, my man. Benson led 12-0, then held on to upset South Medford 12-7. Benson will play Gresham next week in the state semifinals. In college action today.
And only a few blocks away, Benson High School, and when they were cheering, I heard the dust was falling down here in the studio.
Enthusiastic crew, yeah.
And good luck to the Vikings this weekend.
Oh, yeah,
nice weekend for them to have the home advantage.
It is.
Mm-hmm. And how would it...
And Benson Tech, that's a rematch of the playoff game won last year by Roseburg. Tonight at Civic Stadium, Benson and Gresham met in semifinal action. Benson struck early on their first drive. Kenneth Vaughn takes it in from the 4. It's 7-0 Techsters. Gresham then will get the ball. Quarterback Jason Fellows drops back to pass. Benson's Bill Jerson introduces himself. Ball pops into the arms of John Coryell. He rumbles 79 yards into the end zone. Benson quickly is up by 14 points. Well, the game stayed that way through the half. Then in the third quarter, Gresham fought back. Fellows connects on a 20-yard TD pass to Nathan Hamilton. The Benson lead is sliced 14-7. A few minutes later, Fellows strikes again, this time to Matt Schulenberg. It's tied up at 14. It stayed that way into the fourth quarter. Here's the touchdown that won it. A short pass to Tony Robertson. He breaks tackles all over the place, goes 50 yards for the score to give Benson a 21-14 victory. In the other semifinal game, this one played at Autzen Stadium, Roseburg beat Redmond to earn a second straight trip to the finals 35-27. The Class AA title went to Philomath this afternoon. Salem Academy won the Class A championship. They beat
season, and they're behind 20-6 now in the big plays knocking off Gresham tonight. John Coryell coming up with the loose ball on the quarterback sack. He goes 87 yards, and Benson had a quick 14-0 lead. But Gresham would tie it up by the fourth quarter. Rod Fellows tossing to Mr. Clutch of the playoffs, Matt Schulenberg, and that evened it up 14-all. So it came down to another big play for Benson to win it. Quarterback Joe Bushman throwing to our KATU Prep Athlete of the Month. It's Tony Robertson. He hauls it in and will break the tackles 1, 2, 3 right here. 50 yards. Benson wins 21-14. They'll face Roseburg for the championship, a rematch of that controversial playoff game last year. The Indians go back to the final for the second straight season. They buried Redmond at Autzen Stadium this afternoon. The Roseburg running game devastating. Greg Fogel blasting down inside the 20-yard line. He will take it in again. Indians lead 28-7 at halftime, win it 35-27. The final next Saturday, 1 o'clock at Civic Stadium. You can see it live right here on Channel 2. Salem.
Johnson. At Civic Stadium, Benson took on Gresham in the semifinals of the AAA State High School playoffs. Action from the first half. It's a fumble by Gresham, and John Coryell goes 78 yards for Benson. 14-0 Techmen at halftime. Gresham came back to tie the score in the third quarter. Jason Fellows long to Matt Schulenberg. It's a 32-yard strike, 14-14. But in the final quarter, Benson again makes the big play. Quarterback Joe Bushman to Tony Robertson, and watch the run he makes. Breaks a tackle, does a little stiff arm work, goes 50 yards for the winning touchdown. Benson wins 21-14 to reach the state final. Benson will meet Roseburg for the championship next weekend. Roseburg beat Redmond this afternoon. Philomath
High School and Roseburg High School will play for the state AAA football championship. It should mean good football, but it will mean more than that. Here's something to watch for Saturday. If Benson receiver Derek Baldwin, number 83, scores a touchdown, he might put on a show for you. Take a look at these moves. Maybe Derek should try out for some dance company after football season. 7 times he's scored this year. 7 times he's kicked up his heels.
Emotions just took over when I got in the end zone. Yeah. Some people say, you know, think that I'm getting a big hit or something, but it's excitement. You know, that's all it is. Beforehand, I think it's something to do, but then when I get in there, I'm just too excited. And whatever happens, just happens.
I usually miss it during the game because I'm so busy, but I do catch it on the news. But when you mentioned you wanted to talk to Derek about it, I said, Derek, now make sure you tell him which one of the coaches taught you how to dance like that.
Was it the head coach?
No, it sure wasn't.
That's it for right now. I'll tell you a little bit of Michael Jackson there, I think.
Very good.
And honesty from the coach.
Right. Okay, thanks.
Last this long, but as Phil Cassidy, Benson has a unique approach to the game.
The Tech men keep on winning. They've knocked off all the big teams. Saturday, they play for the state title. Here are the reasons why. First off, this is a close group. In fact, they even have a 5-finger symbol to show how tight they are.
Basically, we got 5 different races on our team. Indian, Asians, blacks, mixed people, whatever, you know, and that forms a fist, and together we can win.
Well, we just do it like at halftime and before pregame. You know, he just says, you know, 5 fingers becomes a fist. We all got to come together and play as one.
The mastermind of Benson's motivation is Bill Barber, a volunteer coach. He's borrowed philosophies from successful high school programs in the Cincinnati area. For example, Benson steps on the field with the idea that there's 2 minutes left in the game, they have the ball, and they trail 6-0. And no doubt it's worked.
Teams play better when there's 2 minutes left in a game, and we feel that, you know, if you're down, you'll play harder because that's just the way things are. You know, it's natural. You play harder and you want to catch up and you want to win.
Now the question is, can Benson come together one final time, condensing a 48-minute game into a 2-minute philosophy? The title is on the line.
Well, I don't know. We got 50 Rocky Balboas out here. You know, these people have learned how to win through the year, and I don't think anybody will walk away that hasn't given it everything he's got, and probably just a little bit more.
In Portland,